The Democrats are well aware of this. They're well aware that Americans are fleeing their Democrat policies, their progressive policies, by the tens of millions. That's not good for the Democrats. Their party is collapsing. And that they know their party is collapsing is why they're aggressively attempting to replace American citizens who are fleeing the Democrat Party with third world migrant citizens. Arizona gaining 1, Texas gaining 4, Florida gaining 4, North Carolina gaining 1. Now, of course, one downside to this population redistribution is that some of these blue people leave these blue states and they take their blue with them. Colorado is now worse than California, as hard as that is to believe. The Colorado legislature is about to adopt the worst gun control law I've ever seen in my life, basically making every modern firearm illegal. You're allowed to keep what you have, but you can't buy any more. Every gun store in Colorado is going to go out of business instantly. Plus, they just added a 7% tax on ammo and guns, a state-level tax. Colorado's gone insane, which is why I'm leaving the state. So I'll be one of these people. We'll have to see. I think Colorado, for many, many years, it's been very much a net importer of population. I think that's finally shifted. It's become a net exporter of population, and I'll soon be among them. We have a little map here that illustrates some of these changes coming up geographically with states winning and states losing states. And of course, when they lose these, they're also losing electoral votes, because the electoral votes is the number of representatives you have in a state. Also, some other data here I thought was pretty interesting. Oh, I see. That works. Makes it a little small, though. So a major shift we saw this cycle is that young people have gone from being one of the most progressive generations to one of the most conservative generations. Republicans won 18-year-old white men, white women, and men of color, and doubled their support with men under 25. Now, I will mention that this is almost entirely men becoming more conservative. We see a more detailed breakdown here. Democrat support by age. Is that better? Okay. So let me take that banner off for law of self-defense membership. There we go. So the red dashed line here is white men and their support for Democrats by age on the x-axis here. 20-year-olds, that's the bottom of that red line curve on the left there. Virtually less than 30% support. But if we look at women, the line just above that, it's quite a bit higher than that, almost double that. So men and women are diverging enormously in their support. There's another graph illustrating much the same. The top line here is women, the bottom line here is men. The gap between liberal and conservative. Men have stayed pretty much the same in this 10% range of conservative. Blips up and down, but the normative line would be more or less horizontal, right about at the 5-8% point there. Women have become, in just the last 20 years, enormously more liberal. Look at that incline. And now there's a 23% gap between men and women. If you're ever compelled to use force in defense of yourself or your family, the good news is that if you defended lawfully, you can be very hard to convict. But did you defend lawfully? Because if you don't know where the actual legal boundaries for self-defense are, it's the easiest thing in the world to innocently step over them, and now you're extremely easy to convict. Good news. In just a single day, you can become an expert on the law of self-defense and make yourself extremely hard to convict. On Saturday, April 26th, I'm holding one of my only twice-a-year full-day Law of Self-Defense advanced classes. This class is taught live by me and live streamed to you. It teaches you everything you need to know in one day, and there's plenty of opportunity for personal Q&A with me as well. Even more good news, when you register today, you save yourself 50% off the standard registration, but that discount ends soon. Your 50% discount and many more details on this advanced class are available just by pointing your browser to lawofselfdefense.com/advanced today. And I'll also drop that link in the description. I look forward to seeing all of you there. Here's another representation of this, a very recent poll of support for various politicians, Donald Trump, J.D. Vance, Elon Musk, Doge. This is kind of the conservative stuff at the top. Support for DEI, support for Democrats, support for Zelensky down at the bottom. And we see among white men very large surpluses of support for these conservative politicians and Doge. extremely negative with white women who are college educated. It's almost like they go through some kind of grotesque indoctrination program, these women. And then when we look at things like DEI and Zelensky, the women have enormously high favorability ratings. White women, college educated. And the men have substantial or enormous, especially against DEI, because DEI is what? DEI is anti-white male racism. That's all it's ever been. That's all it always will be. So naturally, white men don't like it. Negative 40% approval rating. Women love it. They're all for it. And then they complain. These white college-educated women go on social media and complain they can't meet a suitable husband. Well, I wonder why. I wonder why when they support these policies that make it so much harder for the prospective husbands they would want white men to prosper in life. It's just completely outrageous. Democrats have also shifted enormously. Take a look at this. So the Republicans have stayed pretty much along the same level on various cultural issues is what they're measuring here. So the red line is conservatives. The gray line is the median voter between the red and the blue. And the blue line is Democrats. Democrats from the 1990s, when even Bill Clinton was a supporter, Barack Obama was a supporter of traditional marriages between a man and a woman. But the Democrats have just lost their mind. Here's affirmative action on the left. Support for affirmative action. Very few Republicans, Democrats have shifted from 20% to 60% support. Here, cutting immigration, or increasing immigration. Republicans want to cut it by 40%. 40% are saying they want to cut immigration. 40% of Democrats are saying they want to increase immigration. They were negative 20 years ago. It's almost like somebody is particularly susceptible, I should say, to brainwashing on these issues. The collapse of the Democrat Party. I mentioned this post earlier. Never interrupt your enemy when he's making a mistake. I played the Jon Stewart interview. Here's a news report making much the same points. Chuck Schumer is losing his grip on Democrats. He's had to cancel book signings. Democrats are in disarray. Schumer in toughest fight of his Senate leadership career. I just saw him interviewed recently. And indeed, they're explicitly asking him, do you think you should be the leader in the Senate? And he's saying yes. But when you're being asked that so publicly, there's a reason. There's a reason. So he's in jeopardy. By the way, many of the people in the Democrat Party, they don't want to move back to the middle. They want to go even further left. Further left. They're saying we're losing because Schumer's not going left hard enough. We need more left. We need more illegal immigration. We need more DEI. We need more government jobs. And Schumer's being ineffective fighting for those things. I kid you not. That's what's going on. So I have a bit more. Speaking of immigration. So why do you think we have all this census stuff, right? I talked about this. The states losing. The blue states losing population. Folks, this is why we've had this enormous open borders policy under Biden. The Democrats are well aware of this. They're well aware that Americans are fleeing their Democrat policies, their progressive policies, by the tens of millions. That's not good for the Democrats. Their party is collapsing. And that they know their party is collapsing is why they're aggressively attempting to replace American citizens who are fleeing the Democrat Party with third world migrant citizens. Import 100 million migrants into the U.S. and fast track them into instant American citizens. This giant bulge here on the right of this graph, that's all Biden. That is 100% Joe Biden kicking open the border, importing all these migrants. And before the election, the Democrats were talking about how they're going to fast track citizenship, instant citizenship for these third world migrants who have no historical or cultural affinity for anything American, not our Constitution, not the rule of law, not due process, not how government should run. It is horrific what they've done to this country. And they've done it purely for reasons of self-survival, because they are facing an existential threat as a result of their own policies and being abandoned by the American people.